I was not planning on filming this video today, but I can't wait. I have to film this video today. It is literally 11:30. I finished this book like 10-15 minutes ago, and I have so many concerns and thoughts. I also wanted to film an entire series review because I've talked about the first book in the series on my channel. I didn't talk about the novella or the second book, and those are like my favorites in the series ever. Like, they are so good. 5 stars. But then I read this book and I realized that I just need to vent. Also, I hope you enjoy my Batman shirt. Usually I'm better about my appearance, and I would usually change since this is my sleep shirt. Indeed, it's my sleep shirt for tonight, but I don't care enough to change. You're getting full 11:30 p.m. Miranda with you today, who is a little bit concerned, upset, confused. Overall, just a bunch of emotions that are pretty negative. But we are here to talk about Fearless by my girl Lauren Roberts, who I don't even know if she's my girl anymore with the amount of betrayal that happened in this novel. This is going to be very spoilery. I've decided. Actually, no. I've decided no. I will give you a brief, super spoiler-free review, and then I'll get into my thoughts and feelings. If you have no idea what this book is about, all I can say to help you is that this is a young adult fantasy series. This is the third book. We follow around our two main characters, Peyton Gray, and then we have Kai Azer. Azer? I've never said his last name out loud. He is the second son of the king in this series, whereas Peyton Gray is just an ordinary girl who is powerless. And that is the title of the first novel, Powerless. So this story follows around Peyton. Sorry, I don't sit normal. We follow around Peyton Gray, who is just a normal, ordinary person in this kingdom that is overran by the powerful, people who have these powers, and they were gifted them by the plague. Yeah, there was this plague that ran through the kingdom, and most of the people who survived it gained these special powers, these special abilities. But there were people who didn't gain any powers, and the king decreed that everybody who doesn't have a power needs to be killed. So Peyton has been living her whole life in hiding, right, in the slums, and she stumbles across one of the princes, Kai, who is the enforcer. So he actually carries out most of the king's dirty work. She meets him one fated day and actually ends up saving his life. And so she is summoned to the kingdom and yada, 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 goes through all these trials with a bunch of other people, very reminiscent of the Hunger Games. And then we end up here. And I skipped a lot of info, but I'm just giving you a brief summary. In Fearless, though, specifically, I'm really trying not to spoil the entire series, so I will continue to be very vague, but this dives deeper. This tries to dive deeper into the love triangle, if I even can call it that, between our main characters. We know throughout this entire series who Peyton ends up with. I actually heard that the author said in an interview that she does end up with Kai before the third book even came out. I don't know if that's correct, but if it is, that is very concerning. I hate spoilers. Why would you tell me that, Lauren? Why? Good thing I didn't hear that until I finished this book. I keep getting off track. So this third book was so garbage. I'm sorry. I don't want to be mean. Maybe I kind of want to be mean. This book was such a waste of time. If you have read the first and the second book, just, it's okay. It's okay if you stop right there. I wish I would have. I honestly, at this point, I know I said I hate spoilers. I wish I was spoiled so that I could have saved so much time. This book is so thick. And for what? for a whole ton of nothing to happen, but then to have 10 billion quadrillion plot twists dropped on you in the last 50 pages. I might be a little bit dramatic, but it definitely was the last like 100 pages. But still, the I'm very upset. The plot itself was not exciting to me. We had a lot of things repeat, very repetitive, especially with dialogue between characters, and I lost all respect for our main characters, to be completely honest with you. I also did not care about what was happening, which is so sad to me because I cared so much in the second book. The second book, Reckless, is fantastic, and it went poof. I wish I could say that this was a well written book because it evoked so much emotion in me, but it's not. I lost all respect for the characters. The pacing was awful. Awful in this book. The ending was supposed to be shocking, I feel like, but it was more overwhelming in ways that were not good. Dare I say it gets 1 star? I haven't had anything lower than a 3 star so far this year. I think this is going to be a 1 star for me. I'm so sorry, Lauren Roberts, but also I feel like you owe me an apology. That will be all for my spoiler free review. If you don't want any spoilers, you probably should click off at this time. Thank you for watching. I'm glad that you're here. I really hope that I saved you time. For those of you who have read this already, I'm really sorry that I was unable to save you time and that you also wasted your time on this like I did. Or if you're just here to hear the gossip, I'm about to spill it for you. Fearless. Okay, so where do I even begin? Beginning of this novel, Peyton is engaged with Kit, who is the heir to the throne. He is the king now because, back at the end of the first novel, Peyton killed the king out of self-defense, right? And was on the run, and so Kai had to run after her. Kit is the king, and he starts to go a little crazy. He proposes to Peyton. Doesn't really propose. He commands Peyton to marry him. Oh boy, I don't think you guys are ready for what I'm about to drop on you. The entire first 75% of this book, maybe even 80% of this book, nothing happens. Nothing happens. We go through another set of trials, but I feel like that was just filler to keep us entertained, which failed. I was very bored. And honestly, the most exciting trial for me personally was when Peyton and Kai were on the boat sailing across the ocean, because that actually seemed exciting to me. And honestly, I just should have picked up Moby Dick by Herman Melville because I enjoyed that book more than I enjoyed this one. Moby Dick's actually one of my favorite classics, funny enough. But back to the topic at hand. I feel like the same conversations were being had. Peyton, the entire time, was very conflicted. All of our characters are so conflicted in this novel. Like, nobody can make a freaking decision about anything that they feel. Peyton is torn because she loves Kai and wants to be with Kai, but she's engaged to Kit. And so she makes this point to frequently talk about how she is engaged to Kit and she is going to follow through with the marriage, even though she doesn't want to. But then she just keeps toying with Kai's feelings. And then Kai, to his brother's face, tells him, "Oh, no, it's me and you, brother. Just me and you." But then he runs around with his brother's fiance when he has a suspicion that his brother actually is in love with Pei. Oh, but yeah, I love you, brother. But let me just run around with the girl that you're engaged with who you actually really love, or that I assume you really love, but I'm not man enough to even talk to you about it face to face. Yeah, that whole thing felt so icky to me. Just their relationship, they're sneaking around the castle, they're doing it on top of Kai's younger sister's grave. At this point of me reading, I genuinely liked Kit more than Kai, which is a shocker because I loved, once again, I loved Kai in the second novel. Loved him so much. But then I got to this monstrosity and I lost all respect for them. You are toying with each other's feelings. We all know that Kai is in love with Peyton, but why would you tell your brother that you love him more when you're literally choosing Peyton over him? The whole thing was just suspicious to me. But it was always like oh, we're going to sneak around the castle. But oh, wait, a boundary needs to be set. But oh, we're not actually going to follow the boundary and we're going to sneak around the castle some more. Oh, but I am marrying the king, not you. Oh, now Kai's really upset about it. But then, oh, never mind. They're doing the nasty. Like, I'm sorry. This is so much emotional whiplash for me that at this point I don't care anymore. Like, I'm desensitized. I honestly think I'm more upset at Kai for being so two-faced with Kit, because with Peyton I understand if she is genuinely in love with Kai, which we know that she is. That's a really hard place to be. So then the wedding happens, and this is where literally whatever crap has not hit the fan already, oh, it is hitting the fan. Literally chaos ensues after their marriage. They find out that Peyton is actually King Edric's daughter. Peyton actually has royal blood running through her veins, and then that means that her and Kit are half siblings and they're married. But guess what? That doesn't phase Kit, I guess, or anybody, really, because we continue on with the marriage. And they actually planned not just one wedding, but two weddings. So after the first wedding is when we find out they're related. But yeah, let's continue with the second marriage. Not marriage, the second wedding, the second ceremony. What? It keeps getting worse. The second you think that it is really bad, no. Kai is not even related at all to anyone. We find out he's not even the king's son. Lauren had to make it so that Kai and Peyton could end up together. Of course, Kai isn't related to them because Peyton wouldn't be able to marry him otherwise at the end. It just felt very lazy to me. Also, something else to note, this entire novel, Kit has been, obviously, it is so painfully obvious that he is sick and that he is going to die by the end of the novel. He's coughing up blood. Very President Snow from the Hunger Games of you to do, Mr. Kit. I know that if a character is coughing up blood and it is brought up multiple times, that he's gonna die. That is not a shocker to me. And I feel like it was supposed to be a shocker, but it wasn't. It was actually Kai, his brother, who ended up killing him, which was crazy and I feel like super weird because it just so happened that there was no healer around to heal the king. Also, what do you mean no one else was around when this happened? And Kai killed him on accident because they were like play fighting. They are actually going back and forth like in a real fight, like they would when they were younger. And it turns into this really sweet, well, not super sweet because I genuinely just didn't care at this point in the novel what was happening. Oh my gosh. I feel like I went to a war reading this novel. It felt like it was supposed to be a really sweet scene of reconciliation almost. These two brothers who have been at odds for so long are finally reaching the point where they feel normal again because they're like fighting with each other, and that's what they used to do all the time. But then, because Kit is literally dying, he trips up and doesn't dodge one of his brother's attacks. And so the stake ends up through his chest and he bleeds out and dies because there are no healers, apparently. There's no one around to help when he's literally the king. It just is way too convenient. Why did it take so long? And why is this novel so freaking humongous? Just for everything to happen in the last like 70 pages. I don't get it. Can you tell I'm tired? I need to pick up a Stephen King novel. I need to get out of this rut that Fearless has put me in. So, yeah, not a great book. And I feel like it's just more disappointing because I had such high hopes, because the second book was so good, in my opinion. Yeah, that just it's bad. What is up with third books being so bad lately? I'm just so disheartened with the ending of this series. If you've read this, please let me know your thoughts. If you know of a really good series that I could read to just make me feel better, please let me know in the comments below. I'm gonna go to bed now. Thank you all so much for watching this video. If you watched it in its entirety, I so appreciate that. I love you all so much. You seriously mean the world to me. And yeah, let me know anything. Comments, questions, concerns down below. Like this video if you enjoyed this content. Subscribe if you haven't already for more bookish content. And as always, I love you all so much. Please be safe, make good choices, and I definitely will be seeing you next time. Bye!